In the new kingdoms forged from ashes, the battles for power are no longer human.
The sky, once a highway for iron machines, is now an arena for primordial kings.
In the depths, where concrete roads fade into oblivion, the ancient protocols of the ocean have been re-established. Wild instinct confronts the last lines of code from a lost era. And humanity's greatest monuments, their concrete gods, begin to tremble before time.
The Hook, have you ever wondered? What happens when the symphony of 7 billion lives suddenly ... goes silent? No warning, no farewell, just an event that came to be called the Great Stillness. The last kinetic energy of a vibrant world runs out, returning the Earth to its primordial peace. The first creatures to notice the change were the companions left behind. The walls of the old world were still there, but the jailers were gone. The great iron birds, legacies of the sky, make their final flight. Darkness, for the first time in centuries, truly reclaimed its nightly dominion. Beneath the surface, another, smaller empire began its exodus. Systems built to last forever began to realize the brevity of that term. The invisible shackles of technology were broken. Freedom was simply a single step. The floating palaces of opulence now became ghost ships, with no captain and no destination. The machine slaves remained loyal to their last command until their final electronic breath.
The steel dragons that once conquered distance now sleep, awaiting the erosion of time. The rules of the old world were still in effect, but there was no one left to obey them. The colors and sounds of distant lands began to punctuate the drabness of the metropolis. The planet began its own healing process, a purification that would span decades. Even the most protected creatures had to face a world of perilous freedom.
Mankind's eyes in the sky slowly went blind, returning privacy to the planet.
The night sky held a funeral of light for its dead, artificial stars. The most silent and powerful invasion in the planet's history had begun. Nature attacked not just from above, but from below, breaking the very foundations of the old world. The symbols of human pride donned a new coat, a surrender to the force of life. The highways of the old civilization became new migratory paths, guided by instinct. The prehistoric monsters returned to reclaim their lost territories. Every human relic became a miniature ecosystem, a new world within the old. The rules of private property were abolished. The entire world was now an open forest. Artificial oases became the seeds for the rebirth of forests in the clouds.
Priceless works of art witnessed the most indifferent audience in history.
The process did not take millennia. In a single century, the green carpet reclaimed almost everything. The concrete arteries of commerce now became new valleys, shaped by water and life. Ancient instincts found new pathways, despite the strangest obstacles of a bygone world.
Vehicles of transport became observation decks, ideal hunting perches in the urban jungle.
The arenas echoes of the old empire once again echoed with the call of the predator. The desert, which man had tried to conquer, finally came to claim what was its.
The artificial jungle provided new challenges and opportunities for the masters of brachiation.
The fields that once harvested sunlight now only reflected the image of wild freedom.
Nature has no concept of cultural heritage, only of habitat and food.
Even humanity's poorest places became the hunting grounds for the noblest of predators. The wall built to stop an invasion could not, in the end, stop the invasion of life itself.
The conquerors of the sky now provide shade for the kings of the earth.
The most fearsome weapons of destruction became harmless islands for rest.
Human luxury became the daily amenity for the new residents.
The Great Migration was no longer hindered by artificial roads. They were now part of the landscape.
The largest creatures on the planet became unwitting architects, reshaping the world by their mere presence. In the old temples of consumerism, the only law was that of the stronger.
Tactics replaced strength. Predatory intelligence was honed in a whole new arena.
Brute force remained a useful tool for reshaping the battlefield to one's will.
Complex social orders were re-established. Power was now measured by sightlines and absolute dominance.
Ancient hunts played out on the most modern of stages. The race for survival never ends.
The iron monsters of the oil industry became artificial reefs, attracting the apex predators. The war between invasive and native species played out in the most unexpected of places. The beauty and brutality of nature coexisted in a single frame.
The intelligent cooperation of the pack challenged the strength of a lone giant. In the fight for survival, there is no room for hesitation.
But the enemies were not only of flesh and blood. The ghosts of a bygone era were still on patrol.
Technology employed unnatural tactics, weapons that instinct had never known. But instinct adapts, learns, and overcomes. A prison of machinery, where cold logic confronted the panic of a living creature. Primordial strength shatters the precision of the machine. Chaos of the herd against the sequential logic of a lone soldier.
Even the most durable machine soldiers have a weakness against a swarm attack.
Intelligence is not exclusive to vertebrates. Another form of consciousness was on the rise.
Complex hunting tactics were executed perfectly, unimpeded by human vessels.
When resources are scarce, even the most docile creatures become warriors.
The emperors of the taiga now reclaimed the palaces of the tsars as well.
The icons of a continent retook control of their land.
The death of one civilization is a feast for another. The cycle of life and death continues.
Human arrogance, cast in millions of tons of concrete, was about to face a greater force: gravity. The collapse of a symbol gave birth to a cleansing power.
The city of artificial dreams was submerged by a very real nightmare.
destruction. The predators of the New World were quick to occupy the newly created territories.
From the ashes of arrogance, a new, wild, and unpredictable beauty was born.
In the forgotten pages, would they find the ghosts of the gods who made, then abandoned, this world?
The most brutal war machine became the warmest shelter.
Nature does not just destroy, it decorates the ruins, creating beauty from loss.
For them, time is a different concept. Human haste is now just a decorative shell on the ocean floor.
A forgotten melody, a final echo of the sadness and beauty of a vanished species.
Their journey continues, undisturbed by the curiosity of science.
The dream of conquering the stars now became a cradle for life on Earth.
Nature composes its own symphony, one of silence and rebirth.
Humanity's efforts to create clean energy now became the foundation for an entirely new ecosystem.
Artificial oases became real oases, providing survival in a harsh environment.
The symbols of speed and power now serve only as convenient storage pantries.
The ocean reclaimed its space, and the dancers of the sea could perform freely. The great faces carved in stone are now just a resting place for the most delicate of creatures. The places that once echoed with the roar of the crowd are now quiet nurseries for new families. Speed was no longer a virtue. Slowness and persistence became a winning strategy for survival.
The artificial caves became ideal roosts for the creatures of the night.
The true beauty of the night sky was returned, a light show humanity had stolen from itself. The successors sat on the thrones of the first kings, witnessing the start of a new cycle.
The grid of light that once defined civilization was extinguished. Only natural light remained, lightning, volcanoes, and the stars.
The catastrophe of one species was the paradise of millions of others.